Imagine sitting down in class and being given a lecture. And that lecture happened to be about drugs and their negative effects. Now, most of us already know drugs tend to be bad. For that lecture, some of us may pay attention, but in reality, most of us will tune it out. Now, imagine that same exact scenario across the United States in every single classroom. That's exactly what DARE did. When it comes to solving the United States drug problem, there are many different ways and approaches that can be tackled. However, DARE was a horrible attempt. DARE was ineffective in a teaching standpoint and an effectiveness standpoint. The first reason why DARE did not work is because lectures were ineffective and created negative thoughts. Studies have shown around 40% of students were not really informed. It also has shown that 70% of those students don't really created negative thoughts about DARE. This shows that kids would not only tune out lectures, but made them feel that as the entire thing was pointless, as they could have been using their time learning something more useful. Not only that, but students who have also gone through the program have also said that they don't remember anything after about 2 years. This only helps reinforce that kids really were not informed. Studies have also shown that one main factor why students were informed poorly is because the lectures were too long and boring. The lectures tended to be long and too informative, meaning that kids would tune out as they got bored and they would be filled with too much information. This affected the younger audience more as they don't have the attention span as much as older kids do. The second reason why DARE did not work is because it created an opposite effect as for what it was created for. Bill Hansen, a researcher, has shown that throughout the years that DARE has been around, it created an effect called the boomerang effect. This means that kids would distance themselves from the program, and once they do that, they fall into drugs, creating what is known as the boomerang effect. Researchers have also shown that those who have gone through the program are more likely to fall into drugs. And then one final reason why DARE had an opposite effect is that throughout the 30 years that it has been around, research has only found that DARE has reinforced its own boomerang effect. This likely shows that DARE knew that its curriculum was bad, but didn't care enough to fix it. The third and final reason why DARE was ineffective is because there are way better programs out there than DARE. There are around 66 other programs out there that have done better things than DARE have done. A study done by RTI has shown that throughout the years that DARE has been around, the impact that the other smaller programs have done are much bigger than what DARE has done. Many of these other 66 programs other than DARE have all shown to done better jobs than DARE because they all focus on one thing rather than one large thing. This shows that the main flaw with DARE is the fact that they covered too broad of a problem rather than focusing on one thing. When it comes to solving the United States drug problem, DARE was ineffective in a bad attempt. Considering that there's no evidence to show that it worked, it created an opposite effect, and there are much better programs out there. As someone who's gone through the program itself, I can reinsure that DARE was pointless and didn't teach us anything new at the time. After presenting you with 3 main reasons why DARE was ineffective, you can see why DARE was ineffective in a teaching standpoint and an effectiveness stance.